My almond pie recipe is quick, easy, and delicious. It's super flavorful because it has the amazing flavors of oven roasted and brown sugar cinnamon candied almonds. So if you like pecan pie but you want something different, this is a great alternative. This dessert is super simple because it only has a few ingredients. You will need one 9-inch pie crust. I am using homemade, of course, but you can use store-bought. You need to put it into the pie shell, and this pie crust is totally raw. It is not par-baked. All we need to do is mix together a custard filling, pour it into the unbaked pie shell, and that's it. For the custard filling, you will need 1 stick of butter, 113 grams, 1.5 cups of sliced almonds, 180 grams. These are sliced, not whole and not slivered. I think sliced almonds are probably the best option for almond pie because whole almonds like these would make the pie difficult to cut, and I think slivered might burn, so this is a good middle ground. Like I said, 1.5 cups. 1 cup of sugar. I am using light brown sugar as I measure 240 grams, but you could use white or a combination. 2 large eggs, as well as 1 teaspoon of almond extract, half a teaspoon of ground cinnamon, and 1/8 of a teaspoon of salt. The first step in making the almond pie filling is melting the butter. I'm going to do it in the microwave, so I'll bring you back. It took a little over a minute and a half, and my 1 stick of butter, unsalted butter, is now melted. Whenever you melt butter in the microwave, I highly recommend that you cover it because sometimes as the water in the butter turns to steam, it can explode. So just cover it, and that way the inside of your microwave will stay clean. Making the filling is easy. The order of the ingredients that you add to the butter doesn't matter except for the eggs. So add those last. So first I'm going to add the slivered almonds. And these almonds, as far as I know, are not toasted. I'm sure you could toast them before adding them to the pie, but I honestly don't think it's necessary. My 1 cup of sugar, and I am adding the eggs last because I don't want to accidentally cook them by adding them to the hot butter. The almond extract, the cinnamon, and the salt. I am going to keep stirring, and then I'm going to taste the almond slices, see if maybe they need more cinnamon or something. I tasted the almonds and brown sugar. It tastes amazing. So now I'm going to add my 2 eggs. Honestly, I might end up adding a little more melted butter because as compared to the other nut pies that I've made, the filling seems a bit dry. So I'm going to mix this together and then I will let you know. Honestly, I think the almond filling would probably be okay, but from what I remember when I made my pecan pie and my walnut pie, this is a bit thick. I think the slivered almonds, maybe because the inside of the nut is exposed, the sliced almonds, I meant to say, they absorb some of the liquid from the butter. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add 1 tablespoon of evaporated milk. Some pecan pie recipes and just chess pie recipes in general call for adding some milk or vinegar, a little bit of extra moisture. I think this is just what I need. If you don't have evaporated milk, regular whole milk would be absolutely fine, but I think there, that is perfect. Like I said, my 9-inch pie crust is in the pie plate. It's unbaked. My almond custard filling is now ready. So I'm just going to pour in the filling. I don't want to annoy you with the sound of scraping the bowl with my spoon, so I'm going to do that off camera and then smooth out the filling in the pie crust. I just finished smoothing out the filling. Even though it does look like the pie shell isn't completely filled, as the filling cooks, especially because of the eggs, it's going to puff up and fill the shell a bit more. I like to bake my pies on a pizza pan. You can use a pizza pan or a cookie sheet or something just in case the filling boils over. It boils over onto this, not the bottom of your oven. So this almond pie is now going to go into a 350-degree oven uncovered for 45 minutes. I just pulled my almond pie out of the oven. It was in at 350 degrees Fahrenheit, uncovered for 45 minutes. 4-5. First of all, in terms of appearance, I thought that this almond pie looked absolutely amazing. The crust was perfectly golden brown and the nuts were toasted as well. It had a light almond scent as well, just as you would expect, so I was really curious to give this pie a try. And when I took the first bite, I knew that my almond pie recipe was a big success. This was not only easy to make, but also delicious to eat. But I did want to point out one thing, which I'll get to in a minute. But like I said, this pie was definitely delicious. It had a strong almond flavor, not only because of the almonds, but also because of the almond extract. But honestly, what I think really made this pie good was the combination of brown sugar and cinnamon with the almonds. I actually almost didn't add the cinnamon to this pie. I've made pecan, walnut, and peanut pie in the past here on my channel, and I didn't add cinnamon to any of those. But while I was researching this recipe and brainstorming ideas, I saw that there are a lot of recipes for brown sugar cinnamon roasted almonds. Since there were a lot of recipes with that flavor combination, I thought there must be a reason why, so I wanted to give it a try in this pie. And I'm glad that I did because it definitely worked out in this recipe. In fact, the next time I make a pecan pie or a walnut pie, I'm going to add half a teaspoon of cinnamon. I have no doubt it would be good in those pies as well. And now that the first slice is cut, you can see that just like my other nut chest pies, the nuts themselves are floating on the top, and then there's a layer of sugar custard underneath. Although this pie was sweet, I didn't think it was too sweet. I actually thought it was just right. So if you're someone who thinks that sometimes pecan pie can be a bit too sweet, you don't have to worry about that in this recipe. My homemade melted butter and canola oil pie crust was flavorful and it went perfectly with the filling, so no complaints there. Like I already said, this almond pie recipe was a success, but there was one small caveat. Even though sliced almonds do work in this recipe, and I think that they would work better than slivered, I honestly think that crushed almonds would be best. And even though the almonds did taste good, I felt like the texture was a bit off. It's hard for me to put my finger on it, but something in my palate just didn't like the texture of the sliced almonds in this pie. If you have to choose between sliced and slivered, I think sliced almonds are the way to go. Like I said, the little almond slivers, those are going to burn probably. But if you can, buy whole almonds and crush them yourself. I've seen crushed pecans and crushed walnuts, but I don't think I've ever seen crushed almonds, so you'll have to do it yourself. It is an extra step, but I think the texture would be better. But other than that, this almond pie was a success. It was really good on its own, or as you can see here, with some vanilla ice cream. If I made this pie again, the only thing I would do differently would be using crushed almonds and not sliced almonds. But in terms of the amount of butter, sugar, and the cinnamon, I think it's perfect. I have heard of honey roasted almonds, so if you want to switch things up a bit, you could try that, but honestly, I think it's pretty much perfect the way it is. I had been wanting to try this recipe for a while, and I'm glad that I finally did. because now I have shown that you can definitely make a pie out of almonds. But how does almond pie compare to pecan pie? Honestly, I'll have to say that pecan pie is still my favorite, but if you like pecan pie but you're tired of it, you want to try something else, and you like almonds, you should give my almond pie recipe a try. And now I'm thinking about maybe a cashew, pistachio, or hazelnut pie at some point. Although more nut pies will have to wait, I do have more pie recipes coming up in my annual Thanksgiving pie series, so stay tuned. As always, thanks for watching. See you next time.